Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk, the latest on an FBI investigation at a local school district. Plus, the state's new abortion restrictions are set to go into effect July 1st. But a legal challenge aims to keep that from happening.
Planned Parenthood is a zealous advocate for abortion on demand.
Sometimes the effort is to get a case up to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme to cut back on the right.
Plus, this week marks the anniversary of D-Day. A World War II veteran joins us in studio to talk about that day. And the Bill Monroe Music Festival starts tomorrow. It's celebrating its 50th year. Ahead, how festival organizers are honoring the occasion and the festival's founder, the man known as the father of Bluegrass, Bill Monroe. Those stories and the latest news headlines from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. A bill that restricts abortions in Indiana is scheduled to go into effect July 1st. Governor Mike Pence signed it into law at the conclusion of this year's legislative session. Opponents are hoping to keep the law from ever taking effect. They're taking their challenge to court next week, claiming its restrictions are unconstitutional. As Drew Dodlin reports, some say the fight is emblematic of America's increasingly toxic political climate.
Abortion remains as controversial as ever, but a bill passed this year in Indiana which bans abortions based on race, sex, and disability and prohibits the selling of fetal tissue has garnered an especially harsh response. Headlines said the law was one of the most restrictive in the nation, that it featured severe, totally unenforceable restrictions, and that after its signing, women's rights in Indiana are dead. Planned Parenthood and the American Civil Liberties Union of Indiana are suing the state over the bill, claiming its provision banning abortions based on certain criteria is unconstitutional.
Well, we have seen an enormous increase in the number of abortion restrictions enacted by state legislatures in the last few years. Even still, though, I was shocked.
Law professor Don Johnson says the long list of reasons why a woman won't be able to get an abortion was what shocked her most. She says like many other abortion restriction laws, it is blatantly unconstitutional.
In many instances, the legislatures and the governors who sign those bills know they're unconstitutional. And sometimes the effort is to get a case up to the Supreme Court to ask the Supreme to cut back on the right.
Every right is, no matter how important, is balanced against important state interests.
Bob helped develop the language for the bill. He says it protects unborn babies from discrimination, citing the large number of fetuses diagnosed with Down syndrome that are aborted.
Planned Parenthood is a zealous advocate for abortion on demand. They think that abortion can be performed for absolutely any reason, and as a result, I'm not surprised that they challenge the law.
While you can still see the dividing line between pro-life and pro-choice camps, the conversation around the bill has been a bit more unpredictable. Most notably, a group of Republicans, some who have worked on anti-abortion bills, spoke out against the new bill. Republican Representative Sharon Nagel told the Associated Press, "The bill does nothing to save innocent lives. There's no education, there's no funding, it's just penalties." And with the mention of discrimination, it's impossible not to make the connection to another controversial topic this session, the Republican majority trying and failing to pass an anti-discrimination law for members of the LGBT community. Johnson says the fact that Republicans are now championing anti-discrimination is a cynical attempt to Trojan horse an unconstitutional law.
I feel that it's time ideally to stop fighting that way and have instead a common ground effort to reduce the need for abortion through promoting contraception.
If killing babies in the womb because they're black is not a problem, then the law doesn't do anything. It only prevents the intentional killing of a baby in the womb because the baby is black, or because the baby's a woman, or because the baby is disabled. If nobody's doing that, then it has no effect. So my question is, why do they object to it?
And joining us now to talk about some of the details in this case is reporter Drew Dodlin. Drew, let's just start with if you could explain what is the constitutional argument being made by the ACLU on behalf of Planned Parenthood.
There are three challenges coming from the ACLU, maybe the most significant having to do with the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. So the 14th Amendment was the foundation for Roe v. Wade, the 1973 case, which said that states could no longer outlaw or regulate abortions within the first trimester. An important part of that decision was the Supreme Court said that a woman's right to privacy extends to her decision to get an abortion. So lawyers from the ACLU are going to argue that the provision in this new bill that bans abortions in that first trimester because of certain motivations it removes that autonomy that was put in place.
So the case starts Tuesday. What are people expecting?
The people I talked to on both sides are pretty confident, but even opponents of the bill, like Don Johnson, expect some of it to go through. The specific part that she and others that I talked to don't expect to get through the court system is that provision that I just talked about that bans first trimester abortions based on certain motivations.
So the law goes into effect next month. If that's the case, still going on when that happens, then how will that affect the woman?
The ACLU has filed for a preliminary injunction. So the judge will hear that this Tuesday. If he accepts that injunction, then the new law will not go into effect July 1st if the case is still ongoing. So it will basically wait until the case is over if he accepts the injunction.
And then just really quick, Indiana University tried joining that lawsuit but were rejected. What's the latest on that?
So IU is interested in sort of a different part of the bill. There's another part that says it would no longer be legal to buy, sell, or receive fetal tissue. And that was put in response to the allegations against Planned Parenthood that they were illegally selling fetal tissue for profit, which a federal judge ruled did not happen. But it was still put in place, and so IU is interested in that because if that happens, it will hinder the research that they're doing on neurological diseases, specifically Alzheimer's.
Okay. We got to go, but thank you very much,
Yeah,
Drew.
no problem. Thanks.
And now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. The Vigo County School Corporation says it is cooperating with authorities following an FBI raid this week at 3 of its locations in Terre Haute.
The corporation received search warrants Wednesday for its administration building, facility support, and an information technology center. FBI personnel removed at least 40 boxes and computer towers from a building at the school corporation's transportation center. Beyond confirming the FBI raid, officials aren't releasing any information. The Vigo County School Board called a special meeting this week. It was closed to the public, but the group released a statement saying the district is fully cooperating with law enforcement and understands there has been no formal identification by law enforcement of any VCSC employee as a target in this matter.
Officials aren't saying what their timeline is for completing the investigation and determining whether to move forward with any criminal charges. The director of the Indiana Department of Child Services is warning the group that's installing baby boxes where mothers can drop off unwanted newborns anonymously to remove them. DCS Director Mary Beth Bonaventura says she questions the safety of the boxes and her agency will investigate the use of such a box as a case of child abandonment. Bonaventura also recommended safe haven baby boxes not install any more of the devices. The organization's founder says she doesn't plan to stop and actually has plans to install more in urban areas in central Indiana. The rate of syphilis cases in Indiana jumped 70% in just 1 year. The State Department of Health says the increase mirrors national trends that show rates for the sexually transmitted infection reached their highest in 2 decades in 2014. Indiana health officials are reviewing individual case data to determine what's causing the high infection rate. For the first time in America's history, a woman will likely win the presidential nomination of a major political party. On Monday night, Hillary Clinton secured the delegates needed to be the Democratic Party's nominee for president. With Clinton's win, she reached a new milestone for women's history, and it's inspiring some campers at Bloomington-based Girls Inc., an organization that helps girls overcome the effects of gender inequality.
She has very good points in her election, and if I could vote, I'd definitely vote for her.
It'll make me feel the same as everyone because there's been a lot of boys presidents, but now I feel good about having a girl.
The Democratic candidate running for Indiana's open U.S. Senate seat is challenging his opponents to a series of debates and town hall meetings. Former U.S. Representative Baron Hill is running against Republican U.S. Representative Todd Young and Libertarian Lucy Brenton. Hill says he thinks an event should be held in each of Indiana's 9 congressional districts.
Hoosiers deserve access to their candidates, and they deserve answers. The very future of our democracy depends on open, honest, and spirited debate focused on the future of Indiana and the United States.
Young's campaign says the congressman looks forward to debating Hill again. Brenton called the debates a great idea, but says she's not optimistic Young will actually agree to them. The state's new sexual assault prevention plan focuses on education, particularly for children. Goals include using data to identify successful prevention strategies, encouraging organizations of all types, including schools and churches, to work together, and reaching out to populations that have previously been underrepresented in anti-rape efforts, including men. In 2015, more than 1 in 8 high school girls and about 1 in 16 boys reported being raped. The Indiana Department of Child Services says the number of children removed from their homes jumped 61% over the past 4 years. DCS says the large increase is linked to the growing opioid and drug epidemic. The agency says increased collaboration with other organizations is the best way to combat the increase. A former Bureau of Motor Vehicles employee is being fined for violating the state ethics policy. When Sean Walters was chief of staff at the BMV, he helped deliver a contract to Express MVA. Walters later went to work for Express MVA. The Indiana Inspector General brought a complaint because Walters didn't observe what's called the 1-year cooling off period. The State Ethics Commission unanimously approved a settlement in which the former BMV official will pay a $500 fine. The state no longer has a contract with Express MVA. The state Supreme Court's newest justice will officially join the state's highest court Monday. Governor Mike Pence appointed Indianapolis attorney Jeffrey Slaughter to the seat last month. He succeeds Justice Brent Dixon, who retired in April. Chief Justice Loretta Rush will swear Slaughter in during a private ceremony. A federal appeals court on Thursday rejected former Subway pitchman Jared Fogel's appeal of his sentence. Fogel is serving 15.5 years in prison for child pornography offenses and illicit sexual conduct with a child. A group advocating for the legalization of marijuana is suing Tippecanoe County after it says it was denied the right to hold a rally there. The ACLU filed the lawsuit Thursday on behalf of the Higher Society of Indiana. According to court documents, the courthouse is considered a closed forum, and rallies planned on the courthouse grounds must be sponsored by at least one of the county commissioners. The organization claims the county's closed forum policy violates the First Amendment. State Superintendent Glinda Ritz wants lawmakers to make pre-kindergarten education available to all Hoosiers, regardless of income. Ritz called on legislators this week to make it happen by 2020. Despite conservative opposition to pre-K programs, Governor Mike Pence raised the possibility last week when he inquired about federal funding for similar programming that he previously opted not to pursue. Next week's Olympic diving trials will be held in the IU Natatorium in Indianapolis. The facility recently underwent a $20 million renovation. J.D. Gray takes us on a tour.
The deck tiles, bleachers, diving platforms, and water filtration system are all new.
Well, the benefit is the facility had not been renovated or had any major renovation done in nearly 30 years. So if you imagine your own home not doing much maintenance over 30 years, you're going to need some major repairs. So that's what we got, and it really brought our facility back to world class.
The facility is a favorite among swimmers because they can actually swim faster here. The natatorium is also the state's first zero-waste athletic facility. That means 90% or more of all waste is recycled or composted.
It's taken some of the best features from pools all around the world and really put it into one. Specifically the depth, the temperature of the water, the depthness of the gutters, the way swimmers don't necessarily run into their own wake. It allows them to go faster because there's less resistance.
The upcoming Olympic diving trials will be the first of the Olympic events to be held in a zero-waste facility. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm JD Gray.
Olympic diving trials take place June 18th through the 26th. The natatorium is also open to the public for lap swimming. Well, IU fans come out in droves to support their team for the 5th consecutive year. Assembly Hall ranks among the top 10 for attendance. IU finished 7th with an average of just over 17,000 fans per game. That's an increase of more than 800 per game from the year before. Assembly Hall opened in 1971, and with the exception of just 6 seasons, IU has been in the top 10 attendance for all of those years. There are a lot of die-hard IU fans out there.
And it'll be interesting to see how many more they add with the renovations.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. This week we marked the anniversary of D-Day. A veteran who served in the 43rd 72nd Baking Company during D-Day joins us just ahead. And we'll visit the music festival in Bean Blossom that is commemorating the father of Bluegrass, Bill Monroe. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
I can change the world with my own 2 hands, make it a better place with my own 2 hands. I'm gonna make it a brighter place with my own 2 hands. I'm gonna help the human race with my own 2 hands. I can hold you in my own 2 hands, and I can comfort you with my own 2 hands, with my own 2 hands.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. This week marks the 72nd anniversary of D-Day. On that day, Allied forces stormed Omaha Beach in Normandy. Now, just across the English Channel, the 3025th Baking Company was on board a ship off of the coast of England. On board that ship was First Lieutenant Samuel Mallor. The 96-year-old veteran joins us now. Thank you so much for being on the show today. So what did you see on June 6, 1944, and what were you thinking?
Well, firstly, I saw planes coming over, just hundreds and hundreds of planes. And we did know that it was D-Day. We knew there was going to be a D-Day, but we didn't know it was that day. And so we were on board. We had mobile equipment. It was an unusual bakery company because our mission was to go follow the troops. We were part of ADSEC. That's the advanced section of the communication zone. And it was our duty to follow the troops and bake for them. And so we were issued orders to land on D+30, even though we were there ready to land on D-Day. And we were ordered to land on Utah, even though the majority of the fighting was done on Omaha. And so we landed on D+30. We waited 30 days on ship. And a little story is that half of the company was on a British ship and half the company was on an American ship. And the British And when we landed, the men told me that if they ever have to go on a British ship again, they'll mutiny. Because kippers was what the British served for breakfast, and they had had enough kippers.
Now, what did you serve?
We served American food. We were on an American ship.
But when we say you were baking, what were you baking?
Oh, we were baking bread.
Bread.
At the beginning, we were baking bread, and all of our equipment was mobile. Toward the end of the service, we started roasting coffee. So we were a bakery company and a coffee roasting company.
What was the reaction of the soldiers you were serving?
Well, firstly, they had lived on C rations and K rations, and so when they got the white bread, it was like manna from God. And so, and we did this in, we started in Stillmarket, England. That's where we were training, because we used British equipment. The British apparently had used mobile equipment in North Africa, and the American equipment that we trained on here in Fort Sam, it was inadequate. So when we got the British equipment, we really knew how to bake bread, and of course we did. And it was great bread. It really was.
I bet. And boy, I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. We're out of time, but thank you so much, and thank you for your service.
My
Appreciate
pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Okay. A veteran of the War of 1812 received a final Sunday at an event in Patoka Township. Members of the Jonathan Jennings chapter of the United States Daughters of 1812 honored Private Philip Crecelius with a dedicated grave marker in Mount Eden Cemetery, where he was originally buried in 1850. As WTIU's Sophia Salaby reports, it's part of a larger mission.
The dedication on Sunday culminated in the unveiling of a new marker for the grave of Private Philip Crecelius, and is all part of an ongoing project by the Daughters of 1812 to locate and document grave sites like Crecelius's. Since the project was started in 2005, the chapter has identified almost 2,000 graves in Indiana.
And that was before Ancestry.com and all the others, you know. So it was going to the courthouses and the libraries and getting information that way. But now we got it down pretty well pat.
Private Crecelius was born in Tennessee in 1794 and served in the War of 1812 under Colonel William Lillard's 2nd Regiment East Tennessee Volunteer Militia. After the war, he settled with his parents in southern Indiana. At the ceremony, there were 10 direct descendants present, including a 4th great-grandson who is currently serving in the U.S. Army. Jackson herself was one of the many other attendees at the event who is related to Crecelius in some way. She's a descendant of a half-brother of Crecelius and says she was excited to learn of her own connection to the veteran.
Well, to me, I was just thrilled with it. But, you know, you have to have a desire and a love for genealogy, or it wouldn't mean a thing.
Jackson says she's getting older and isn't sure how much longer she can lead the grave location project, but she has the help of the younger generation, her granddaughters, to keep the effort alive. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sophia Salaby.
Bluegrass fans are descending on the town of Bean Blossom in southern Indiana for a week-long music festival. It's named after bluegrass trailblazer Bill Monroe. He started the festival 50 years ago, and as Kevin Highland reports, officials dedicated a historical marker this week to coincide with the festival and commemorate Monroe's impact on the region.
A crowd of about 50 people gathered at the campground Tuesday night for the dedication, where historians and people who knew Monroe spoke. The marker's dedication coincides with the 50th anniversary of the Bluegrass Music Festival. The event draws crowds from around the world.
So I'm just thrilled to be here and to be part of it. It's almost when you walk around and visit his mules, because his mules, 2 of his mules, 1 mule, 1 donkey are here. You can just vision him riding down the road like he did on his flatbed with his mules pulling it.
Musician Reverend Payton of Brown County has been coming to the festival ever since he was a young boy. He says those visits deeply influenced his songwriting.
It's hard to really put into words how important this area, this part, this county, these hills, these people were in influencing me, not just musically, but in subject matter too, and what I write my songs about.
Monroe was known as the father of bluegrass music and wrote several bluegrass classics, including Blue Moon of Kentucky and Pike County Breakdown. After the dedication, a small group of local and visiting musicians grabbed their instruments and played together on guitars, banjos, mandolins, and washboards underneath the setting sun. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Kevin Highland.
The Bill Monroe Bean Blossom Bluegrass Festival takes place June 11th through the 18th. And have you seen this? It's Indiana's commemorative statehood stamp. Officials unveiled it this week as part of the ongoing bicentennial celebration. It shows a sunset over a cornfield in northern Indiana. Photographer Michael Matty captured the photo a few years ago and says it was already special to him. The stamp is available nationwide. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.